You are God in human form. This is Hyptoria, hypnotizing you to manifest. What if every prayer you've ever whispered was a conversation with yourself? Not the self made of skin, memories, and fear, but the self behind the curtain. The I am that has always been, before the name, before the story, before the need. What if the power you've been calling God has never been outside, but has always been within, quietly breathing you? You are not the person you think you are. And that is the greatest relief of all. Because your name, your past, your personality, they're the costume. The real you is what animates all of it. The real you is I am. The awareness that gives life to every experience, every dream, every declaration. You've been taught to pray to something higher, something distant. But the God you were taught to look up to has never been above you. That power is not in the clouds. It's in your consciousness. It is your consciousness. When Moses asked, "Who shall I say sent me?" the voice replied, "I am that I am." That wasn't a name to worship. It was a code to awaken you. It was a reminder that the Creator does not operate outside of the creation, but through it as it, through you as you. Lesson 1. You are the I am you've been praying to. Every time you say the words, I am, whether followed by joy or fear, power or powerlessness, you are speaking the sacred name. You are activating the divine with the thoughts you allow to follow those two words. I am tired. I am lost. I am broken. Those aren't descriptions. They're commands wrapped in confusion. But here's the beauty. Just as easily, you can say, I am healed. I am rising. I am enough. And creation responds accordingly. You are not echoing affirmations into an empty universe. You are impressing the mind of God, your own consciousness, with declarations that shape reality. That's not magic, that's law. Neville Goddard said, "Change your conception of yourself, and you will automatically change the world in which you live." He wasn't speaking metaphorically. He was speaking literally, because the world you experience is filtered through who you believe you are. And who you believe you are starts with those two words, I am. So I ask you now, who do you know yourself to be? Really sit with it. Not the answer you think you're supposed to give. Not the version you curate for others, or the one trapped in cycles of not enoughness. I mean the quiet knowing underneath all of it. The presence that remains when you stop striving. The stillness you feel when you let go and just are. Can you sense the power there? Because that is God, the breath before thought, the awareness behind your eyes, the stillness you fall asleep into each night. You are not separate from the source. You are its embodiment, wrapped in skin and pretending to be ordinary. But you're not here to keep pretending. You came to remember. And remembering, truly remembering, is not an intellectual aha. It's a felt return. It's waking up from the illusion of separation and knowing with every part of your being, I and my Father are one. I am that I am. I am the operant power. Not as belief, as experience. This changes everything. You stop begging. You stop searching. You stop asking the universe if it will please give you a sign or throw you a breakthrough. You stop outsourcing your power to angels, guides, or timelines, not because those things don't exist, but because you finally realize their root is you. God didn't just make you. God became you That is why the I am is sacred. It's not a phrase. It's your essence, your creative command. It's the force that forms life around you, depending on what you identify with. The moment you say, I am, you are creating yourself, not based on truth, but based on choice. So choose consciously. Now you may feel the past rise up in resistance. You may hear the inner voice say, that can't be right. Who am I to claim I'm God? But that voice isn't truth, it's training. You were conditioned to be small, to disown your divinity, to call it blasphemy, to call yourself powerful. But all spiritual awakening is the burning down of learned limitations, until only the I am remains, the one who sees without judgment, the one who feels without fear, the one who knows without needing proof. Before identity, you are presence. Before personality, you are power. Before thought, you are the thinker. That awareness is God expressing as you. So the next time you say, I am, say it as though the heavens are listening, because they are, through you. Say it like it's sacred, because it is. You are. And the moment you speak from that knowing, that being, that depth, reality cannot help but bend around you. I am. That's the root of all creation. That's the real you. Lesson 2. Consciousness is the only reality. Close your eyes. Breathe. Now ask yourself, where does this moment exist? Is it out there? Somewhere in the world? In the trees? The sky? The bank account? The mirror? Or is it arising here? In you, as you. Everything you've ever seen, touched, feared, or fallen in love with has only ever occurred in consciousness. Every sound, every color, every heartbreak and miracle filtered through one thing, your awareness. Not your body, not your thoughts, your awareness. Not the you call by name, but the silent observer behind it all. This is the key most forget. The world you think is out there is actually unfolding in here. Consciousness is not a passive witness to reality. It is the source of it. You are not just someone experiencing the movie. You are the projector, the screen, and the light. The storyline shifts when the one behind the lens shifts. Nothing exists independently of your consciousness of it. Nothing can show up that doesn't first exist within awareness. That means your world is not something you walk through. It's something you generate. The external is simply an echo of the internal. Life responds not to duty, not to effort, not to logic, but to belief, to assumption, to the state of being you occupy. This is why some people succeed without trying, while others work endlessly and see no shift. The one aligned with the frequency of their desire, the one who walks through life as if the end is already here, draws it forth like gravity. Not because they earned it, but because they embodied it. Consciousness assumed it, so reality reflected it. You don't manifest what you want. You manifest what you are conscious of being. If you are conscious of being rejected, beloved opportunities will slide silently out of reach. If you are conscious of being inferior, praise will feel like pity, and success will taste like fraud. But if you become conscious of being whole, abundant, chosen, life bows before the script you carry in your heart. Not because life pities you, but because it obeys you. You're not waiting for permission to shift reality. You already have the pen. But until you stop reacting to appearances and start assuming your position as creator, you'll live in cycles that look like fate, but are only familiar mind loops repeating their pattern. If you want to change the world around you, don't start with effort. Don't begin with plans and hustle. Begin with identity. Begin with reality's root, consciousness. Go within and ask, who do I believe I am? Have the courage to feel the answer. Because everything you experience hangs on that one thread. You're not here to force anything into being. You're here to awaken to the truth that everything is being formed through you. You are not trapped in circumstance. You are steeped in a state, a self-concept so practiced you called it personality, then fate. But all of it can shift the moment you claim, I am the cause. When you choose a new assumption, I am powerful, I am chosen, I am wealthy. It may seem like a lie at first. Your senses may screech in contradiction, but senses follow belief, not the other way around. Reality bends to what you accept, emotionally and spiritually, as real. Consciousness is the canvas. Your feeling of being, your I am, is the paint. What you hold within must appear without. So dare to claim it. Start not with effort, but with embodiment. Start not with eyesight, but with insight. Start not with, how will this happen? But with I am the one it happens through. Shut out appearances. They're just the final echo of your past consciousness. What you see around you is old news, the afterglow of a former state. Don't fight it. Don't fear it. Simply rise above it. Withdraw your attention from what is and declare what is real now, within. Feel from the new state. Walk in it, mentally rehearse it, and carry its aroma into this present moment like holy incense. That's not pretending. That is creation. That is real. The world is you, pushed out. And when you change within, the world doesn't argue. It rearranges because it must. Consciousness is the only reality. The rest is theater. What role will you write next? What self will you give life to now? Before you ask how to change your life, ask, what am I conscious of being? Because that is where all power lives. Lesson 3. Desire is God's whisper inside you. Desire is not random. It is not a trick of the ego or a fleeting temptation sent to distract you. Desire is God speaking in the language of longing, a sacred impulse from your higher self, reminding you of the version of you that already exists. That vibration you feel in your chest when you picture the life you want, that's not fantasy. That's memory. The idea that you must shun desire to be spiritual has kept more people small than sin ever could. Spirituality is not the absence of desire. It is the alignment with divine desire, the kind that pulls you higher. Desire is not weakness. It is a map. And every genuine longing you feel is your God self pointing you toward your own fulfillment. You've been taught to distrust your desires, to delay them, analyze them, or worst of all, to downplay them in the name of staying realistic. But here's the truth that changes everything. If you can feel the desire, the experience is already seated within you. You are not chasing it. You are remembering it. Energetically, you wouldn't even notice the desire unless, on some level, it was yours already. The inner urge for more abundance, for deep love, for higher impact These don't come from a void. They are echoes of your true expansion calling you home. God put the desire in your heart because God is the desire in your heart. To silence it is to mistrust your own divine instinct. To ignore it is to deny your nature as a creator. When Neville said, "You are free to choose the concept you will accept of yourself," he didn't mean you had to earn that future. He meant assume it. Accept that what you desire is simply the next logical expression of the self you already are. The artist feels desire to paint, not as obligation, but as a natural overflow. The entrepreneur dreams of building. The lover dreams of union. The seed becomes the tree, not by multiplying effort, but by yielding fully to the pattern already pressed within. So how do you decode the voice of desire from the noise of the world? You feel. You listen to the pull, not the pressure. The thing you desire when all the noise falls away, that's the whisper. The thing you still dream of, quietly, long after the world told you to move on, that's the thread. Follow it. It won't scream. It won't shout. It will rise like warmth in your spine. A surge, a flicker of truth that says, "This is you." There's a version of you that already has it, already lives it, already knows precisely how it feels to wake up in that new life you so vividly taste at night. The desire is how your current self communicates with that future version. It's not trying to show you what you lack. It's reminding you of what's real beyond appearances. It's God nudging you, saying, "Come see what I've already prepared." You don't need to force anything. You don't need to chase. You only need to receive. To feel that sacred signal within and say to it, "I trust you." Your job is not to figure out the how. That's the mind's addiction. Your job is to dwell inside the feeling of it already being done. To assume that this desire was born because the harvest already exists. Your knowing brings it into form. If desire lives in you, fulfillment does too. You're not here to suffer through scarcity in the name of because it's spiritual. You're here to live richly, freely, fully, because your very nature is abundance. Your existence is evidence that life knows how to flourish. Look at the trees, how recklessly they bloom. Look at the ocean, how endlessly it gives. Look at your own breath, always returning, never lost. That's God. That's you. The world has conditioned you to believe that desire equals distance. But the truth is, desire equals closeness. It's the friction between who you think you are and who you truly are, and your willingness to close that gap with belief. Don't shame your desires. Nourish them. Feed them with imaginal acts so strong they wake up your soul. Make them more real in your mind than the seeming obstacles around you. That is faith in action. Desire isn't a lack of something you don't have. It's the presence of something you're ready to remember. So today, when you feel it, a pull, a dream, a want, don't ask, "Is this too much?" Ask instead, "Is this the God in me calling me forward?" Because it always is. Desire is proof of the promise. It's the echo of fulfillment knocking on your awareness, waiting for you to say yes. Let your yes be full. Let it be bold. Let it be sacred. You are not chasing fantasies. You are walking home. And the God within is smiling because you finally remembered your way. Lesson 4. Imagination creates. Doubt delays. Imagination is not child's play. It is the language of God flowing through you. Most have been taught to relegate imagination to fantasy, to dismiss it as something immature, impractical, or unserious. But in truth, imagination is the workshop of creation. It is the womb of all reality. What you habitually entertain in imagination becomes your world, whether you believe in it or not, whether you call it real, or still just a thought. The world you walk through each day is simply a reflection of the thoughts and images you've accepted as true, knowingly or not. The moment you visualize, you create. The moment you feel it real, you call it forth. Imagination isn't a maybe, it's a mirror. When you close your eyes and feel into the scene of your desire as if it's already happening, you are bending time. You collapse the gap between someday and now. Because to the deeper self, the I am that you are, there is no time. There is only state, frequency, vibration, cause. We are not here to wish and wait. We are here to imagine and become. When Neville said, "Imagination creates reality," he wasn't being poetic. He was being precise. You don't need to convince a higher being. You don't need more worthiness points, more good deeds, or perfect behavior. You only need to imagine and feel it real long enough for that vibration to become your dominant state of being. The universe does not respond to effort. It responds to assumption, to embodiment. If you can imagine it and dwell in the feeling of it now, sincerely, fully, without contradiction, then the outer world has no choice but to conform. Reality is compelled to catch up with the scene you hold within. But the second doubt enters. The current pauses. The signal gets mixed. The prayer stalls. Not because you're wrong or broken or unworthy, but because you're now broadcasting static instead of power. Doubt isn't just uncertainty. It's a state. It's an energy. And it has its own fruits. When you imagine something wonderful and then cancel it with, "What if it doesn't happen?" Or, "That's too much," or, "Who am I to have that?" You are like the person who plants a seed and then each morning digs it up to check if it's grown yet. You're not giving your creation the nourishment of conviction. Imagination backed by belief births miracles. This is why some people effortlessly manifest what they assume, and others spin in circles. It's not luck. It's not magic. It's imagination married to certainty. Feeling mixed with knowing. The secret is not how hard you want it. The secret is how consistently you dwell in the state of already having it. There is no manifestation without imagination. There is no creation without inner experience. Think back to any beautiful moment in your life, something you achieved, received, became. If you trace it back, you'll find you imagined it first. You saw yourself holding it, wearing it, being it. You felt its joy before it was visible. And then, somehow, it showed up. That somehow is the law. You are not at the mercy of the world. The world is at the mercy of your inner world. Your vision is the script. Your belief is the director. And your state of being is the movie playing now. You weren't given imagination to daydream about what you can't have. You were given imagination to remember what you already do, in truth. Nothing is withheld from one who assumes their desire is already so. Why? Because you're not trying to create from scratch. You're selecting from what already exists in the quantum field. It's already done. You're just entering its frequency with your thoughts and your feelings. So stop saying it's hard. That delays. Stop wondering when. That doubts. And stop waiting to believe in yourself once it shows up. Believe now. Imagine now. Feel now. And you will shift your timeline. In the silence of your mind, already there is a door that opens to the version of you living your fulfilled destiny. All you must do is knock with imagination and walk with faith. Imagination is your divine power. Doubt may visit, but do not give it lodging. Come back, again and again, to the scene, to the feeling, to the truth. You are not waiting on the world. The world is echoing your inner movie. Play the one you desire, and do not press pause. Lesson 5. The state you enter becomes the life you see. Reality is not a fixed structure. It isn't something solid out there that you must chase, beg, or hustle for. The life you live is not dictated by external circumstance, but by the internal state you occupy. And the state you occupy writes the script of your world. States are not goals. They are inner atmospheres, invisible soul climates. When you say, "I am happy," "I am abundant," or even, "I am overwhelmed," you're not just describing how you feel. You're identifying the state you're calling reality. You're stepping into a role, whether consciously or not, and the world will respond and rearrange itself to match that role. You have worn many states in your lifetime. Some clothed you in celebration, others wrapped you in shame. But none of them are who you truly are. You are not any single identity. You are the one who chooses which state to enter. You are not the actor. You are the author, choosing what character to play through your awareness of being. The world you see right now is just the echo of the state you've most dominantly dwelled in. If you live in the state of lack, then lack appears in your finances, your relationships, and even in how people treat you. If you reside in the state of chosen, suddenly opportunities, love, and divine timing begin to chase you down. The difference isn't the world. It's your dwelling place within consciousness. You don't have to emotionally bulldoze your way out of a painful state. You just need to become aware you're in it and choose again. States shift not with strain, but with surrender. The moment you remember you are the chooser, not the effect, you access your divine power. Try this. Instead of asking, "How do I get the thing I want?" start asking, "Who is the version of me who naturally has it, lives it, breathes it, and what state is she in? Does she feel calm? Does she feel certain? Does she walk with a quiet knowing?" Step into her shoes not by forcing externals to match it first, but by assuming the internal state as if it were already true. Live from the inside out. Before the bank account rises, before the relationship shifts, before the opportunity arrives, embody the one who already has. A sobering truth. You cannot receive what you do not believe you live in. It's not enough to want more. You must become more, not in action, but in consciousness. You must let go of the state of longing and enter the one of fulfillment. When you worry, plead, chase, or react, you reinforce a state of not having. But when you innerly relax into the assumption that it is done, because it is done in imagination, you open the door to that state crystallizing in form. Neville said, "Your state of consciousness is the sum total of all that you believe and consent to as true." That means your outer reality is not here to punish you. It's here to show you yourself. When you shift states, life must follow. It is cosmic law. You don't have to force doors open. Enter the state where they open automatically. You don't have to get people to love you. Enter the state of one who is already loved so deeply, so tenderly, that the world mirrors it back. You don't have to try to be magnetic. Enter the state of pure magnetism, and people will feel it even in your silence. States are not rigid. They are fluid. You step in and out of them all the time, often unknowingly. You go from I am strong to I am defeated in the span of a day, sometimes an hour. That's okay. The key is not to judge yourself when you fall into an old state, but to become aware of it and to return, like coming home. Everything changes when you know, I am not my mood. I am not my circumstances. I am not what happened to me. I am the one who chooses where I dwell inside, and where I dwell becomes what I see. So if your world is showing you limitation, disappointment, or rejection, don't battle the world. Change the state. Move from, they never choose me, to, I am the one people love to celebrate. From, money is hard to come by, to, I am the source from which abundance flows easily. These aren't just affirmations. They are doorways, states of being, new dimensions waiting to wrap your life in another layer of grace, bliss, and power. You don't change your life by changing the mirror. You change it by transforming the image within. And the image within is made, not by trying harder, but by entering a new state of already being. The version of you who knows, I am whole. I am it. I am already there. So decide now. Who are you willing to be? And what state will you live from next? Because the state you enter becomes the life you see. Lesson 6. Stop asking. Start assuming. You've spent years asking, haven't you? Asking the universe for signs, asking God for guidance, asking life to give you what would finally make you whole. You've prayed, journaled, vision boarded. You've begged in silence when no one was watching, whispered into dark rooms hoping someone would answer. But here's the truth. The answer has always been waiting on you. You don't manifest by asking. You create by assuming. Asking says, I don't yet have. Assuming says, I already do. And manifestation responds, not to your words, but to the vibration you carry when you speak them. Vibration doesn't flinch at desperate hope, but it bows to conviction. When you assume something is already yours, the universe rearranges itself to comply with your command. Not because you're lucky, because you're God in human form, and God does not beg. You are not a beggar at the gates of reality. You are reality. When you say, please, I need more money, you are declaring lack. When you say, I am wealthy, you're not asking anymore. You're becoming. You're stepping into the state where abundance already exists and claiming residence there. There is a sacred boldness in assumption, not arrogance, sacredness. A deep inner knowing that what you choose to live as begins responding in kind. You're not ignoring reality. You're rewriting it at the root. You're stepping out of the illusion of not yet and into the truth of already done. Asking is rooted in the belief that something exists outside of you, that the power is elsewhere, and you must convince or earn your desires. But assuming comes from the remembrance that you are not separate from what you desire. You are it. You are the awareness in which the desire was born, and within that awareness, it was fulfilled the moment you saw it. Let it land. If you can desire it, you can assume it. If you can assume it, you can become it. And if you become it in consciousness, there is nothing left to prove in form. This is not about acting as if, a hollow mimicry of someone else's life. This is about dwelling in, feeling from, and allowing your mind and body to respond as one who already is. A woman does not wonder if she is pregnant after the conception has occurred. She knows it, even before the belly shows, even before the baby kicks. She changes her posture, her habits. Her inner life honors the seed that has taken root. That's what assumption is. Inner evidence first. Outer evidence comes later. The moment you catch yourself asking again, pause. The moment you plead, how or when, pause. Not to guilt yourself, but to remember who you are. Replace the question with a knowing. Not because you've seen proof with your eyes, but because you know what your true eyes, your inner vision, have already chosen. Say it with me, right now. It's already happening. Whisper it again, but this time, feel it. Let your shoulders drop. Let your breath soften. Let your mind rehearse the ease of a fulfilled life. You begin to sense it, don't you? That life isn't waiting to give you something later. It's answering your assumption right now. In ways you can't always see. In whispers, in nudges, in moments of strange alignment that make you smile and say, "That's weird, but it's exactly what I needed." Assume the identity of one who already has it, and watch how life treats you as such. You don't become what you ask for. You become what you assume. People will call this delusion, but it's not. It's creation. Your world echoes your identity back to you, again and again. So declare, "I already am the one who lives that reality." Let that be your prayer now. Not a pleading, but a proclamation. Not a question, but a choice. You don't need to knock on the door. You are the door. Ask no longer. Assume. And watch heaven rush into form, not because you begged, but because you finally remembered. You were the one holding it all along. Lesson 7. Feel it real. The emotion of fulfillment. There's a secret that's never really been a secret. It has whispered through scripture, echoed in ancient traditions, and been hidden in plain sight by mystics, wizards, and awakened minds throughout time. Neville called it the feeling of the wish fulfilled. And once you grasp this, not just intellectually, but emotionally, viscerally, cellularly, your entire world bends to meet you. Think of your emotions as the signature of consciousness, the proof of belief. Feelings are the ink with which you write your fate. You do not manifest from thoughts alone. It is not mental repetition that unlocks the doors. It is emotional permission. When you feel it, you claim it. That is the law. You've been taught to wait until something is real before you respond emotionally. Wait for the partner, wait for the money, wait for the opportunity, and then feel joy, confidence, love. But that's not how this works. That's not how you create as God. God declares, and it is so. You feel it, and it becomes so. To feel it real means to summon now the emotional state your manifestation would bring. But more than that, to live from it. You step into the clothes of the version of yourself who already has it, who already knows it's done. You don't hope. You don't test. You don't wait. You assume the identity, the frequency, the nervous system of the one who already holds what you once desired. And from that state, creation is effortless. You don't have to manipulate the outer world. You don't have to persuade or rush or prove. Your job is simpler: to feel wealth as your state, to feel love as your inevitability, to feel success as your identity, not your goal. Emotion isn't secondary. Emotion is creative. Every time you rehearse fear, doubt, or lack, the world says yes and mirrors it back. Every time you feel whole, empowered, saturated in gratitude for a reality that still looks invisible, you command the unseen to take shape before your eyes. There is a version of you living the life you ache for, and they are not far. They are not ethereal or impossible. They are simply in a different emotional frequency, a different assumption. Shift your feeling and you collapse the distance. So how do you feel on purpose? Start here. Don't try to make it happen. Feelings don't obey force. They open under immersion. Imagine, truly imagine, the moment after it's done. Picture yourself receiving the message, looking into their eyes, seeing the number in your bank account, holding the keys, walking on the stage, laughing in relief. Not as a possibility, but as reality. Not with anxious hunger, but with peaceful knowing. Relish it, relax into it, conjure it like a memory. Let it be real to you internally, as if you're remembering something instead of fabricating it. And the outer world will race to catch up with what you've already accepted. You are not faking it. You are not lying to yourself. You are aligning with what is more true than your current physical experience. The senses only report what has already crystallized from consciousness. Don't wait for the world to verify you. Verify yourself. God doesn't ask for proof. The Creator creates from conviction. Feel it real doesn't mean pretending to be happy 24/7. It means dwelling in the emotional home of the fulfilled version of you. Would she be anxious? Would he be doubting? Would they be wondering if it's working? Number. They live already inside the yes, and when you feel as they feel, you begin to experience what they live. This is not positive thinking. This is embodiment. This is how reality is made. Emotions are not just reactions. They're instructions. Each one sends signals to this divine quantum intelligent universe. And the signal doesn't return empty. Everything begins with a feeling, and everything belongs to the one who claims it now, emotionally, fully, shamelessly. That's why the feeling of the wish fulfilled is the secret. Because God doesn't wait to see. God declares, and feels, and knows. And so do you. You don't need to force your reality to change. You only need to change your emotional state. Because when you live in the vibration of the answer, the question fades away. The old you dissolves in the presence of the fulfilled you. And what was once a dream becomes your default. Feel it now. Not because you're pretending, but because your soul remembers. It's already done. Lesson 8. The world mirrors the self you believe in. Take a breath and look around you. Not with your eyes, but with your awareness. What do you see? Not the details, not the stories your mind begins to tell, but the essence, the shape, the tone. Does your world feel warm or cold, open or closed, overflowing or restrained? Because here's the truth. You are looking into a mirror always. Life doesn't show you what you want. It reflects who you are being. The external world carries no power of its own. Your relationships, your income, your health, your home. These are not random constructs or results of fate. They are living reflections of your inner self-concept. Your world is the echo of your identity. And the identity you carry, consciously or by habit, tells the mirror what to reveal. If you believe deep down that people leave, you will watch them go, even if you love deeply. If you believe that money is hard to earn, you'll live in effort, regardless of how many hours you work or how many strategies you deploy. If you believe success is for others, somehow life will always make sure you're almost there. But not quite. This isn't punishment. It's precision. The universe, in its vast intelligence and mercy, is not separate from you. It carries no opinion of your worth. It simply reflects your persistent assumptions. You are not here to earn love. You are here to remember you already are it. You are not here to chase abundance. You are here to embody the part of you that knows lack is an illusion. Every single person, experience, and condition that enters your life comes not to harm you, but to show you yourself. Not just the surface self, but the beliefs crouched in the deep. The subconscious patterns you've innocently worn like skin. And when life keeps sending the same situations again and again, it's not because something out there is broken. It's because your reflection hasn't changed yet. Once, a woman told me her boss was constantly belittling her at work, and coworkers always seemed to ignore her input. She had read every book on setting boundaries, practiced affirmations, even tried manifestation techniques. Yet the pattern remained. When we sat in silent self-inquiry, and I asked her, "What do you truly believe about your voice?" Her eyes welled up. "I don't think it matters," she whispered. "I feel invisible." And there it was. Not a flaw, but a doorway. Her world was not rejecting her. It was mirroring her belief that she did not exist as fully as others. As she learned to stand in the feeling of being valuable, not loudly, not forcefully, but quietly, internally, the mirror began to change. Her voice began to matter, first to her, then to them. Her world rearranged to match the self she remembered. What you remember yourself as, the world will agree with. You will never be treated better than you believe yourself to be. The world is generous, but exact. It does not bend to your words. It bends to your knowing. To shift your world, you must shift the self it is reflecting. Not with effort, but with embodiment. What would it feel like to walk through a world that adored you? To wake up and know you mattered just because you exist? Try it for a moment. Not as fantasy, but as presence. Let yourself inhabit the state of I am treasured, I am seen, I am whole. Not because someone said so, but because it's your truth, buried beneath years of forgetting. And once you do, once your inner atmosphere changes, everything you call reality will too. The faces around you will soften, invitations will appear. Places that once felt hard will feel like home. You won't have to force it. You won't have to prove anything. Because reality does not argue. It reflects. Your life will rise in agreement with the self you have chosen to remember. So stop trying to fix the mirror. Don't beg the world for change. That's like scolding the reflection while forgetting you hold the face. Instead, return to yourself. Ask lovingly, what must I be assuming about who I am for this to be showing up? Ask not with judgment, but with curiosity. Ask with compassion, because vast transformation doesn't begin in the outer layer. It blooms in the invisible. And once you see it, you cannot unsee. You realize the mirror was never cruel. It was honest. And now that you know who you are, it will reflect that too. Lesson 9. Your inner speech is a prophecy. Listen closely, not out there, but within. There's a voice always speaking inside you. It doesn't ask for permission. It doesn't wait for the right moment. It whispers, it chatters, it repeats. You call it thinking, but it's so much more. Your inner speech is the brush painting the canvas of your life. It is your spell, your script, your subconscious decree. And whether you know it or not, the words you speak to yourself are shaping the world you walk in. Every time you say, "I'm not ready," "This never works for me," or "I always mess this up," you are issuing a command. The universe doesn't hear doubt as question. It hears it as instruction. And since it mirrors your beliefs back to you, it takes your word quite literally. What you repeatedly say within yourself is what you decree into being. Your inner speech is the most sacred dialogue you'll ever have, because it isn't really between you and anything outside. It's between the creative power within you, the I am, and the illusion of limitation. And here's the truth. That power always agrees with your assumption. It has no choice. I want you to understand something deeply right now. You've already been manifesting your entire life. Every relationship, every opportunity, every delay, every success. All of it began as a story told silently in the quiet chambers of your consciousness. That internal narrative, you thought it was harmless, but it was preparing a future. You might believe you're not creating when you're worrying, but you are. Worry is just faith in what you don't want. And every time you rehearse problems in your mind, you are scripting a scene you may soon live. That's the power of your inner voice. It doesn't just describe life, it determines it. Neville Goddard said, "Your inner conversations are far more important than your outer conversations. If you do not control your inner talking, then your inner talking will control you." And that is not metaphor. It's law. You are not narrating what's happening. You are commanding what's coming. Now breathe that in. Let it sober you, but also empower you. Because here's your redemption. You don't have to wait for outside circumstances to change. You don't even have to wait for your personality to be better or more evolved. Your reality begins shifting the moment your inner voice becomes loyal to the outcome you desire. So instead of asking, "Can I really live that life?" begin rehearsing it. In here. Now, walk through life inside your mind the way you intend to walk through it externally. Begin every morning, not by replaying fears, but by affirming truth. I am remembered. I am respected. My ideas are magnetic. My vision is already fulfilled. Do not wait for someone else to say those words to you. Your voice is the one with the most authority in your life. This is not toxic positivity. This is sacred authorship. Most people unknowingly rehearse failure. They replay mistreatment. They relive rejection. And they wonder why their lives feel stuck. But when you begin to eavesdrop on yourself and gently interrupt every story of lack, of struggle, of not yet, something miraculous starts to happen. Your world bends. not by effort, but by echo. When you speak consistently inside your own mind as the version of you who already has it, it begins unfolding. Because to assume it inwardly is to receive it outwardly. Your thoughts are not random. They are seeds constantly falling into the fertile soil of your subconscious, and your inner voice waters them with every repetition. What you repeat becomes real. Right now, I want you to try something. Imagine someone you love deeply, someone whose dream means everything to you. Imagine they've just said, "I'm not good enough. It's never going to work. I always fail." What would you say to them? What truth would rise up in your heart to speak over them? That truth, that compassion, that encouragement is what you owe yourself, not in future moments. Now let your inner speech be the prophecy of your highest timeline. Not because you're pretending, but because you're proclaiming what's always been yours. And finally learning to listen for the voice of God inside you, wearing your voice. You are not weak. You are not stuck. You are not waiting. You are speaking worlds into existence. Start speaking love. Speak abundance. Speak arrival. Because your inner speech is not just thought. It is prayer. It is activation. It is truth. And God, which is you, is always listening. Lesson 10. Revision. The power to rewrite your past. Do you know what makes you truly powerful beyond words? It's not just the ability to imagine a future, but the authority to revise your past. Most people think the past is final, that it's carved in stone. Something happened, they say, and that's that. But you've come to remember something deeper. You are not the past. You are the one experiencing, naming, and, yes, reshaping it. You are not at the mercy of memory. You are the author of it. Neville said it boldly. Change your conception of yourself, and you will automatically change the world in which you live. What he didn't always say directly was that your conception of yourself is so tightly bound to the story of your past that until you liberate that story, you cannot fully step into your now. And this is where the sacred mystical practice of revision becomes your key. Revision is not denial. It's not pretending something never happened. It is reclaiming your authorship over meaning. It is waking up from the trance that the past has power over who you are today. Let's say there's an experience, a conversation, a heartbreak, a failure that feels like it's been defining you. Something that stings when it echoes through your mind. It flickers at the edge of your thoughts, whispering, "This is who you are." Pause right here. This is a holy moment, because in this instant, you can choose again. Close your eyes and bring the memory to life, not to wallow in it, but to water it with new possibility. See the scene as vividly as you can in your imagination. Now, change it, alter it, rewrite it the way you would have wished it to unfold. If you were spoken to with cruelty, hear them speak with love. If you faltered, see yourself showing up with poise and clarity. If you were abandoned, feel yourself embraced. Feel the scene not as a fantasy, but as reality. And stay there just long enough for the emotion to shift. That is the alchemy, because it's not just the scene you're revising. It's the vibration you're walking with in the present moment that now holds an entirely new resonance about your own past. And that resonance is the fuel for your future. You see, the past isn't behind you, it's inside you. It lives in the assumptions you carry into every situation. That breakup from 5 years ago might still be determining how you show up in love today. That rejection from childhood might still be running your business. It's not the event itself that binds you. It's the meaning you assumed. An assumption is power, which means you can free yourself now. Some will ask, but isn't that lying to myself? Only if you believe that what happened is more true than what you decide. But remember who you are. You are the power that gives truth to everything you experience. The story you choose becomes the life you walk in. Choosing to revise is not lying. It is liberating. And there's something else. When you revise consistently, life responds. The person you forgave in your memory may come say sorry in waking life. The job you once lost suddenly opens again, years later. Coincidence? Not at all. You shifted the seed, and now the harvest has changed. The world rearranges itself around your consciousness, not the other way around. This is why the past is not fixed. Time becomes your servant when you remember that consciousness is Lord. There are no past mistakes too permanent to heal. No formative experience that you cannot revise. Nothing cemented. Everything sculptable. If your younger self was wounded, rewrite the moment. Wrap them in compassion. Tell them they are safe, they are loved, they are chosen. If your inner child was forgotten, see them celebrated, applauded, loved into blooming. Watch as your present begins to blossom in ways previously unimaginable. You are not just healing here. You are time traveling consciously. You are shifting timelines not by force, but by emotional alchemy. You are assuming your seat as author, not victim. So, the next time a moment from the past arises like a shadow on the wall, don't push it away. Invite it in. Rewrite it. Love it back into wholeness. And know, truly know, that because you exist, you are the permission slip for miracles. Because your remembrance is the reset button. This is your script, your sacred play, and every act, past or future, bends to the will of the one writing it. You. Now breathe into that power and let your life become what it always was meant to be, not a repetition of pain, but a revival of possibility. Lesson 11. Persist until it becomes you. The moment you accept the truth of who you are, the Creator clothed in skin, the world will begin to test you. Not because it doubts your divinity, but because you do. You set an intention. You assume a state. You dare to feel it real. And then, a delay, a resistance, a moment when nothing seems to change. The old self whispers, "See, it's not working." And right then, you're standing at a sacred crossroads, one you've visited many times before. Do you return to doubt, or do you persist in the unseen until it becomes seen? Persistence is not force. It is not chase, grind, or hustle. It is faith fused with identity. It is a deep, calm knowing that because you have imagined it, it already lives within you. And what lives within must express itself in form. For consciousness always outpictures itself. So many give up just before reality bends. They leave the state too quickly and call the delay failure. But manifestation is not for those who wait for proof. It is for those who become the proof. You persist not to convince the universe, but to convince yourself of your truth. Because as you sustain the frequency of your fulfilled desire, reality complies. Not right away, not always instantly, but inevitably. Think of flame on dry wood. The spark doesn't make a fire. The spark held long enough does. And so it is with the state of the wish fulfilled. You visit it once and feel good. You visit it again and feel peaceful. But you visit it again and again, and something ignites. You're no longer acting. You're no longer hoping. You are that version now. And what you are, the world cannot deny. There is no need for strain. This is not about pretending harder. This is about relaxing into your power. Assumption means rest. You're not striving. You're trusting. When you start saying, "This is who I am," and actually feel the truth of it, even when nothing outside agrees, that's the gap where most fall. But if you stand firm, not with tension, but with quiet inner certainty, worlds will rearrange. Remember, you're not holding on to a fantasy. You're aligning with a fact, a higher truth the senses have yet to register. They will catch up. They always do. But only after you've made the new self more familiar than the old. The repetition of identity becomes the bridge. Let the old reactions find no grip. Let the familiar fear feel foreign. This is a resurrection. This is rebirth. Neville said boldly, "Remain loyal to your unseen reality, not the reality of the eyes, the bank statements, the past, but the reality you've chosen in imagination, in awareness, in assumption. Like the sculptor who sees form inside stone, you must hold to the vision others may not yet recognize, because that vision isn't coming. It's here. It only needs your loyalty to come through. The world is clay. Your assumption is the mold. But the clay takes shape slowly sometimes, especially if your hands tremble. So steady them with faith. Still them with the knowing that you are not waiting for a distant miracle. You are being the miracle now. When you persist, not out of frustration, but devotion, you shift timelines. You collapse delays. You rewire destiny. All based on one simple law. Your sustained assumption becomes your experience. So don't flinch when the old world mocks your new claim. Don't retreat when form doesn't yet match identity. Keep wearing the version of you that already has it. Speak as them. Move as them. Think as them. Feel as them. Because the state always comes first. Reality is always second. You may not notice the change at first, but eye by eye, cell by cell, your outer world begins to reconfigure to match the frequency you refuse to let go of. That's not delusion. That's creation. And so I'll say to you now what God says through you always. Assume the end and persist until it becomes you. Lesson 12. You are not becoming God. You are remembering you already are. You've never been on a journey of becoming anything. That's been the illusion. You were never meant to grow into power, step by step, moment by moment, as if divinity is something outside that you reach toward. The truth is, the path has never led forward. It has always led inward. Every sacred text, every manifestation technique, every whisper of intuition has only ever pointed in one direction. Back to you. The real you. The one before the name, before the story, before the fear. You are not becoming God. You are remembering you already are. Let that land. Let it echo through every thought you've doubted, every dream you've hesitated to claim. You are already the one you've waited for. You are not on the path to your power. You are the path. You are the power itself, wearing the disguise of limitation until the moment you decide to wake up. This entire book hasn't been a teaching. It has been a mirror. And what you've seen inside these words, that flicker of recognition, that deep pull in your chest, that goosebump along your arm, that is you. Not becoming, remembering. Remembering what lives right now in your breath, in your gaze, in your silent awareness behind every thought. Do you see it now? The I am that has quietly watched the rise and fall of every emotion, every belief, and every lesson of your life. That is God. And that has been you all along. From the first moment you said, I want more, it wasn't ego. It was divinity shaking loose its disguise. Desire was never lack. It was a flare sent up by your soul to guide you back to the whole truth. You didn't desire the dream because it was far from you. You desired it because it was already yours, and something in you chose to remember. There is no outer God handing out miracles based on merit. That idea was born from separation, but you were never separate. You're not an orphan of the universe. You are the universe, writing a story through flesh and thought. Every word you've spoken over your life, I am ready, I want more, I feel stuck, I believe, has worked because I am carries the breath of creation, and it's never been borrowed. It's yours. Every time you speak, feel, imagine, or assume, you are declaring yourself as God in motion, not a metaphor, not poetic flair, literal truth. This is the end of seeking. This is the moment the mask melts. This is the moment you look into the world, not as a person hoping to be seen by God, but as God seeing through the person. You were never here to chase love. You are love, waking up from a dream of absence. You were never here to earn abundance. You are abundance, remembering the texture of lack only so you could feel the homecoming of wealth at the cellular level. Everything you've practiced, visualization, assumption, inner conversation, revision, these weren't techniques to get what you want. They were tools to pierce the veil, and now the veil is gone. There is no final step. There is only choice. You can choose, right now, to remember. You can choose to lay down every story that danced around separation, not because you have to fix something, but because you no longer need to pretend. The throne was never vacated. You just forgot you sat on it. So ask no more if you're doing it right. Speak no more of trying to manifest. Stop asking when it will happen. These are echoes of forgetting. You are a wellspring of creation. You no longer have to borrow light when you are the sun. And so, the next time the mind says, "Who am I to have that?" remember, you are no one until you say, "I am," and the universe obeys. You don't exist within God's creation. Creation exists inside you. And when you speak with the voice of certainty, when you imagine with the eyes of faith, when you feel the truth of your desire already fulfilled, you return to the only home that's ever been real, the knowing that you are God in human form.